Well, my experience with COVID-19, I didn't know it was COVID-19 at the time. They were not giving any uh, uh, testing for, to see if you're positive or negative. So they were basically going by the symptoms. And I didn't have like the drastic symptoms that so many people were showing. The only thing that I was showing a lot, it was the fever, but it was different. Of course, my nose it started getting dry. I usually produce a lot of mucus, and so it was not producing the same mucus, and I was feeling the dryness in my throat. And there is something that it was really stuck in my throat, which it was odd, and especially because I didn't have that mucus, so that's the thing that got my attention. And then eventually it was the fever that but it was internal. It was not like the fever when it's different. You can feel the body feels completely different. So I knew it felt like it, but it wasn't it. So when I find out about the virus, I was still thinking that it was just that I was going to get sick, that I was having some feeling internally, some symptoms, but yet I was not describing it as COVID-19. When it got a little bit different is just because when you get sick, you get a flu, you get the symptoms, and right away you get the fever. Then eventually you have 2-3 days with fever, and it's straight. But this one will stop. Like it will stop the fever, and then it will come back. And it was that you feel unsettled. So with that, it was fine. So eventually, I was doing some tea. I actually did a video, and I said this is the one that I am doing to treat my flu-like symptoms, because I didn't want to put yet as COVID-19, since I was, they were not giving no tests. I called my doctor, and they say we're not giving anything, but we are just going to be watching. So the symptoms will come and go. So in total, it was 38 days. So yes, so I was in quarantine for, actually, it was my whole period that I was observing myself was 38 days. But it got to one point that I thought I was over the COVID-19, and I thought that I already, uh, that it was healed, that I was not going to see any more symptoms. But one day I went to sleep, and after maybe 15 minutes that I lay on my bed, I start feeling a pressure, like um, I can relate it to, I had never had that experience, but I just imagine is like a big tire of a truck, of a heavy truck, just that it pressure on my chest. And I thought it was maybe because I am laying on the bed and that I couldn't breathe. So I thought, maybe if I sit down, I was going to be able to feel better. And so I got up, and I was sitting down, and I told my daughter, I am not feeling well. And for some reason, she started laughing because I started making a noise, and she started laughing. I guess she didn't believe because it was just so quick. So I extended my arm because it seems that my body was reacting to it. It wanted to breathe, and it was not breathing. So I said, I need to get up and go ask for help because, it was not going away. So when I start feeling the pressure more and more, it lasted maybe like, I don't know, I can say maybe the whole episode between, for me, it was the longest, but maybe it was a minute to 2 minutes the most, I think. But so I got up, and I went to where my husband, he was in the living room. And by that time, I was already feeling suffocated. So I just told him, you know what, I cannot breathe. I'm not feeling well. I think I am, that when I told him, I said, I feel like I am going to uh, get even worse, get worse. So at that time, my son came, and when my son came from his room, that's when I wanted to turn and look at him, and everything I got really dizzy. So everything turned out really blurry, and I wanted to say something to my husband, and my husband shouted, "What are you saying? I cannot understand what you're saying." And by that time, I was just making noise. How can I explain the way that I can explain the experience is that it's like something like pressured me and eventually was here and it was holding me like this because I remember I was trying to breathe. So it was holding me like this and I was trying to speak to my husband that I couldn't breathe. Oh my God, I can feel that experience and it's holding me. So the human part of me was thinking, this is the last time that I'm going to breathe. This is the last time, the last seconds that I'm going to be in this earth. But there was another person that was saying, because previous to that, I took, before the virus thing and before me being in quarantine, I took refuge, with Master. So I do remember as that was going on, I was having that is going to be my last breath. I do remember that I say, I am protected by Master. Like, I am not afraid. I'm protected by Master. And that part was at peace. But there was this human that was feeling the choking, the asphyxiation. Because I do remember I was just going like, because there was no more air. So by that time, and all this was happening in seconds, but I do remember that my son, when he saw me that I was gonna faint, he held me and my husband too, so my husband rushed to get the car. By the time that they put me in the car, because they brought the car right in front of the door, I was getting in the car. I was trying to get in there, but my husband is the one who carried me. He had to grab me and push me. Yeah, push me. By that time, when I thought it was going to be like the last, like that was it, I do remember my body reacted, and I just felt like I do remember my stomach is something that started moving, and it just started bringing food, like it was reacting in different ways. So once it opened the food, the vomit. So once it opened the airways, that's when I got to breathe again. So then, right after, we were just laughing about the whole experience, because it was like, how can I be in a position that I felt death, at that moment, and then being so alive right after. And the only thing that I have thought since that moment, because I do remember saying, I'm not afraid of you, I am protected by Master. So for me, I told Master, thank you so much. And I was deeply, deeply grateful that I had that opportunity to be, to take refuge. I was like, that was the best thing I had ever done. Well, my daughter, she wants to take refuge now. My husband told me that he wants to take refuge now. I don't know if people is going to believe it, but I believe because of that, my symptoms were not as strong.